This is Charlie Parsons for Boxing Social in association with Forged Irish Stout and Empire Fight Store. Frank Warren, the man in front of me this morning on Zoom. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you, Charlie?
I'm good, thank you, mate. I'm good. What a time at the minute. Christmas, we don't really get the period to relax because we have the day of reckoning on Christmas Eve when we're all flying back. I'm sure then maybe we unwind. I suppose just firstly, how excited are you? The clock's ticking now. Certainly one of the biggest events that I can remember in recent times. You must be over the moon.
I am. Well, at the start of the year, I weren't reckoning on a day of reckoning on the 23rd of December. So it's brilliant, exciting. It's a fabulous card. It's probably one of the, well, it is the biggest card that I've seen in boxing with the amount of fights on there, the title fights, and also the quality of those fights. And it's fantastic for the fans. They're going to see some really brilliant fights, and I'm sure they're going to be the fans will be entertained. It's great for the British fans because they're going to see these fights at prime time in the UK. It's on the DAZN and TNT box office, so it doesn't get any better than that. And what is really important about it is that when you look at the two joint main events, how important that fight is for them and for their opponents. The opponents have a great opportunity to upset the apple cart, and they are competitive fights on paper, very competitive fights. And we'll see what AJ still can bring to the table and what Deontay Wilder can still bring to the table.
I can tell you've been doing the media rounds today because all my questions are already coming out in the
Good.
first.
Can I go?
No, I've got to press you. I suppose just quickly, we talk about the magnitude of the occasion, it being on cross-platform pay-per-view. Where does this rank in terms of sort of big occasions that you've been a part of in your career, Frank?
Well, I said when we did Tyson against Ngannou, I said the event that we're getting involved with will be a game changer, and it'll be the biggest event I've ever been involved in, because it was. I mean, the amount of media and and the response from around the world. This has been bigger. This is huge. This is the huge card, fabulous card, and it is the biggest card I've been involved with. There's no doubt about that. It's got some great fights on there. There's something for everybody on there. Interest for all around the world. Lots of countries have interest with their champions on there, their guys on there representing themselves and their countries. Personally, there's a fight on there that I can't wait to see, which is Daniel Dubois against Jarrell Miller. I think that's going to be a very, very interesting fight for lots of reasons. And I just feel that every show that's coming up leads to a bigger show next time, and that's what's so exciting about it. I mean, and the fact that because of the involvement of Saudi Arabia, Riyadh season, His Excellency Turkey Al Sheikh, it's just enabled these fights to be made. They're fights that we all talk about, and they're fights that haven't been made for the various, sometimes selfish interests that promoters, fighters have. But that's all been pushed aside to make these fights happen. So it's great for boxing. It's great for the fans. It's a win-win-win all round. And as I say, I think we're just going to go from strength to strength. And as much as I'm looking forward to this show, I'm even more excited about 2024 and what's coming up on over those 12 months.
I've got to talk a little bit about the promo video. I was perched up in the boozer having a few Guinnesses with my mates, and we were all just glued to our screens for about 2, 3 minutes. I mean, I must have watched it about 50 times. An acting debut for yourself as a zombie. I bet you never thought you'd see the day, but probably the best produced promo I've ever seen. And look, like you say before, it just constantly leads on to better things. People said that about the Fury and Ngannou promo. Right now, they're saying it about this one.
It's just like I said, it's a game changer. It gets better and better. It's exciting. And it's fun. And I took couple of my grandchildren along to see it, watch the filming. And that's the main reason I did it. Actually, they kept on saying, "Come on, you got to do it." And I went along, and we did have a good day. I was that day. It was with Deontay Wilder filming, and he was good fun. He took to it like a duck like in water. But we just and most of our stuff was done very quickly. It was, there weren't 100 takes and that. What took so long was the makeup. Well, not so much for me because I look like that most of the time anyway after a Saturday night out. But Yeah, it was fun. It was really, really good fun, and I enjoyed it. And it's good for boxing. You know, it draws people's attention, and and there is a fun side to it because it was fun, and everybody got involved in it and played their parts in it. And I'm sure we're going to do many, many more of them in the future.
Originally exclusive for DAZN pay-per-view, but now shared with TNT. How important was that for you? One, but I suppose two as well. When I sort of spoke to Eddie and a couple of people, they said, you know what, we just want to have sort of go into into the new year and allow sort of this cooperation. It's something new. We've not seen it. On your side, important to make sure that it was on TNT as well.
Well, cooperation seems to be the word now, doesn't it? So everyone's cooperating, and that's great again for the fans. It gives us a bigger audience. It brings eyeballs to boxing. People watch it, and that's great for the game, and it's great for us. I have no problem with that at all, and I'm delighted the way things are shaping up. And in the meantime, we'll obviously still be doing what we always do, which is still promoting and developing young fighters, bringing them through, and getting our guys on to the next level. And they're all looking out to Saudi and thinking themselves, "Wow, we want to be on there. We want to be involved in one of those videos. We want to be involved in one of those big fights, in one of those big occasions." So it spurs everybody on. It's been a massive injection into the sport.
Out of curiosity, did you ever visualize the day that you'd be promoting an Anthony Joshua fight that potentially wasn't the Tyson Fury one?
No, I never, I didn't. Simple as that. No, I never. I mean, I did early on before he turned pro. I thought we might be doing something, but we didn't. But no, absolutely not. But then, see, that's what you got to be. When you get to my age, you've got to be an optimist. You've got to just keep saying, just keep ploughing on. It will happen.
Let's talk about those fights. Obviously, we've heard a little bit circulated over the last week or so that there is a deal in place for Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder for 2024. However, with that being said, they've both got tough tasks in front of them. We know Anthony Joshua, 2 losses last time out to Alexander Usyk, southpaw. He now fights Otto Wallin, a very difficult southpaw, highly ranked, especially in the IBF. And Joseph Parker, no mug for Deontay Wilder. It's all riding on this one, isn't it, Frank?
It is. They both, for them, for those two, for both of them, it's basically at their age as well. Are they going to get to the next stage? What they got left in the tank. We will see. And for the challengers, it's a big chance, big opportunity for them to get a seat at the big table. So it's got all the ingredients of really good, that have the ingredients of real good quality fights that lead to even bigger fights. There's a story, you've got something that's developing there that it will keep developing, evolving all the way through, and that's what we're working on.
You mentioned your man Daniel Dubois. He's got I suppose the build-up's going to be more interesting than anything. We know not the biggest talker, and he probably comes up against the man with the biggest mouth in the heavyweight division in Jarrell Miller. However, that won't settle it in the ring. How do you fancy your man's chances going into that one?
Look, he has everything that's required. He can box, he can punch, he's a good mover, he's a young man. At his best, he's a top quality heavyweight. He gave Usyk the toughest fight he's had as a heavyweight, no doubt about that in his last fight. However, coming out of the fight, there are a lot of people who have a lot of questions or made comments, and he's got to go out and prove those doubters wrong. There's a lot of talk about his desire and how much he wants it. Well, if he wants it, he's got to go out and show it in this fight, because as a young fighter, this is a great opportunity to come out from where he was from his last fight, to come out and show to everybody what he's all about. Can he do it? Will he do it? Will Miller think to himself, you know what, I can put this guy, I can get in his head, I can upset him, can I break his heart? We will see. There's a million questions there will get answered on the 23rd. And I mean, the bottom line of all it is, we provided the platform for him, for Daniel. It's all in his hands, both of his hands. And he's got to use those hands and his brain, and more importantly, his heart, to show the world what he's all about.
We're so blessed, aren't we? This is a card, we talk about that fight. I mean, basically every single fight on the card you could have as
Yeah,
an event really on its
they
own.
are. They
Um,
are.
it's going to be absolute carnage.
Well, it's going to be. Listen, you'd be in for a long night, or maybe a short night if they all get knocked over. Who knows? But it's going to be. It will be exciting.
Just out of curiosity, you mentioned the word cooperation. Now, obviously, easier done when sort of the financial aspects on side. But Eddie very complimentary of George and sort of bringing everyone together. I know Frank Smith has prior mentioned that they've enjoyed working with George. And look, I know there's always going to be that rivalry, but on your side, is it a little bit refreshing? You know, like we saw the photos of the two of you up on the table, sort of you're never going to be best of mates, of course, but it almost feels like we're entering this new age. I mean, I know, like even just speaking to like casual fans and everything, everyone's just got this buzz now.
Well, look, it's all good. I mean, we're doing well. We're there to make fights. At the end of the day, we're all professional. We're there to make fights. The opportunity's there, and that's been enabled by His Excellency's vision, I suppose. That's the big word for it. You know, the fact that he's got out there and you know he's got involved in this. So things have happened. We're all not stupid. We know what we got to do. We know we've got to make these fights happen, and that's what we will do. I was just disappointed though. The only thing that's disappointing me, Frank Smith wasn't in the video because I mean, when you think about it, they could have saved a fortune on makeup.
Um, I saw some videos of Joe Joyce back in training. Have you and the
Yeah,
team got together? Any plan there in place?
yeah, he'll be fighting next year. We'll be announcing his date. I think we'll probably be announcing that date early next week. So he's going to be out. He wants to get back in the action. You know, he's got to get himself back in the swing. He met his bogey man in Jan. Um, you know, he was doing extremely well until that fight. You know, there was a lot of people talking about he would probably beat most of the heavyweights out there. So you know, that happens sometimes. You meet the guy that's got your number, and he did in that fight. So now he's back to the drawing board, and he's got to do what he can in 2024 to get himself back up there and get himself into contention. If he does that, we'll make sure the opportunity will be there for him to challenge for a title.
Tyson Fury, we've seen is back in camp now, training for that Alexander Usyk fight. Obviously we saw at the press conference, he is a showman, and it is always the Tyson Fury show. I suppose now he's got to lock himself away. We know a lot of doubters off the back of the last performance, but I'm sure that will probably, I was going to say spur him on, but I don't actually think he's really bothered by what anyone's got to say. We know that
Right.
undisputed isn't something that actually really bothers him, but another massive fight in the schedule.
Look, it's a huge fight that's going on the 17th of February out there. And as far as Tyson's concerned, one thing Tyson is, he's a realist. He doesn't kid himself. He knows what he's got to do. He knows what it is. Did he have a bad day in the office last time out? Yeah, I think he did, but he won the fight. And it's yesterday and it's gone. And you've got to move on. You can't keep dwelling on the past. You're only as good as your last performance. So he's got to make sure his next one, which is the most important fight, he may not think so, but I do. I think it's the most important fight of his career because it will cement his legacy. And I know he's not. He says he's not worried about that, but I hope he is. And for me, I am worried about it because I genuinely believe he is the best heavyweight out there, and I want to. And my ego wants to be proven right, and I'm sure it will be on the 17th. But he's got look. He doesn't underestimate anybody. He didn't underestimate Ngannou. What happened on the night happened, and he came through a very um, difficult moments in the fight to win a fight, and that's what good fighters do.
Just out of curiosity on the topic of Tyson, do you see much more after these two fights for him after the Alexander Usyk fight? I mean, a victory there, undisputed. I know he's not, like I say, not too worried about legacy, but that, I mean, other than the AJ fight, that would probably be it all, right?
That's going to be his choice. He's the guy getting in the ring. Let me tell you something. You know, with boxers, everybody says, "Oh, the boxer's the last one to know when to pack it in." They're not. They're the first to know, but the last to admit it. And Tyson's not a fool. And I know, certainly people around him, including myself, if we felt that that he shouldn't be doing this, then we would be telling him that. And at the moment, he's okay. He had a tough fight out last time, but he's been out the ring for a while. And it's not like he's got a lot of miles on the clock. It's not like he's fighting 3 or 4 times a year, which he really, had he been doing that, I think that would have stood him in good stead, because he's one of those guys that needs to be busy. He does need to be busy. But look, 2023 will be out the way in a few weeks' time. We're into the new year, new challenges for Tyson, and he'll grasp that with both hands, that challenge, and he'll give everything he's got. And I'm hopeful, and I believe that he'll come for it.
Frank, just two more quick ones from me. Lastly, His Excellency Turki Al Sheikh, have you spoke to him about the potential of a boxing return for Francis Ngannou? Do we know any sort of plans there? Anything you can tease us for 2024?
He'll fight next year, Francis. He will definitely fight next year.
Any clues as to the opponent?
So I just teased you. Now you want more. You're typical.
A double tease.
Be satisfied with what you got.
Okay. Finally, then, we know that now Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn will not be happening. Just your thoughts. It was a long sort of process, but sort of seems to have fizzled out now. Just your thoughts on all that.
Boring. How much more of that crap do we want to hear? It's been going on for so long now, isn't it? Look, it is what it is. Let him get on. All he needs to do, Chris Eubank Jr., he can. I'm sure he's got some nice fights to look forward to. And as far as Conor's concerned, just go and have that hearing with the ball, get it out of the way, and get your career back on track. I mean, whether you're guilty or not, that will be determined. If you are, by now it'll be retrospective, because you've been out the ring, British ring, for nearly 2 years. So just get on with it and do it.
Well, Frank, lovely to speak to you. Thank you for making the time for us here at Boxing Social. You will be landing, as all of us will, on the 24th. Have you got a little plan in place as to how you is it straight home with the family, enjoying Christmas?
Oh, on the 24th, yeah, we'll be. Yeah, I want to get back to the family. Christmas is family time, and we've got a big family, and this we all like to get together. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Supposed to be, we'll have a nice rest, hopefully, after a really brilliant show. I'll probably get told off, because I'll be watching the recording of it when I get back. I'm really looking forward to Christmas. I'm looking forward to, and I'm looking forward to next year. Listen, when you get to my age, you look forward to every day.
Good on you. Good on you. Frank Warren, thank you ever so much for making the time for us this afternoon and speaking to us at Boxing Social.
Cheers, Charlie. Look after yourself.
Thank you.